Hey guys, I'm TCPixel.
I'm T.
And we're about to sip on some Pixel Tea podcast. Are we about to sip on the Pixel Tea? Or is this... I don't
know. It's a tea made of pixels. You might want to be careful. It might be a little chunky going down your throat.
Well, you don't want to cut your throat. You're right. But we are sipping on some Pixel Tea today. This is the first collaboration here. Pretty interesting stuff.
Coming.
Yeah, long time coming. Always wanted to run a little podcast show, and what better to do with my friend T here. He runs his own YouTube channel. So how would you describe your channel? Call of Duty-ish, or you're kind of leaving that scene?
Man, it's so hard. Like I came from doing Call of Duty montage types of things, and then I switched over to doing live commentaries where you kind of just record highlights with the face cam, the whole face cam thing. And recently I've just started trying to play different types of games, and I want to get into doing music tutorials. There's just a lot I want to do in my channels. It's really hard to nail it down, but you seem to have a format going, and you're really good with it.
I'm trying, man. It's kind of just trial and error, have you ever been asked in real life about your YouTube channel? Like, oh, what do you do on YouTube? Like, have you ever had to try to explain that to someone? It's the hardest thing.
Yeah, it is, especially for me. I would think it would be a little easier for you, to be honest, but like,
okay,
I'll be...
You describe my channel, and I'll describe yours. We'll start with that.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Okay, you start off describing my channel.
A Nintendo-oriented gaming channel. You cover gaming news with generally Nintendo stuff. You do tutorials, gameplay.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Commentary.
Okay, so this is how I would describe my YouTube channel, and I struggle at it every time. It's like, oh, what do I do with my YouTube channel? Hold on a sec, let me think about that.
It's really hard.
I report on modded news. I teach people how to get more out of their consoles by modding them. I run a vlog series, and I'm never satisfied with that response either. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
So here's how I would describe your channel. More of a modern sort of YouTuber criticism, Call of Duty gameplay, personality.
That's the thing. Like I started getting into the critiquing commentary type of thing, like critiquing people and how they are on YouTube as a personality and their content itself. And I also do the gaming thing, and it's hard to just mesh those things together. And I'll give you an example. The other day I was at work, and I was walking out with somebody, and she was like, all right, well, what are you doing with your day or something like that? And I was like, I'm just going to go home, finish the video. She's like, oh, what? Like, she didn't know I did the YouTube thing. And I thought she did, because she's friends with my roommate, and he's always talking about the YouTube stuff I do. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do YouTube. And she's like, oh, you're a gamer, you're like, and then she names off some Call of Duty gamer that I actually don't know, just one of those highlight channels, probably a big gaming channel, but I just couldn't name it off. And I'm like, I don't really know where you would categorize me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I don't even tell people that I run a YouTube channel most of the time.
I don't really boast about it, but I'm also not really scared to talk about it too much. Like, a lot of people are like, you'll see people on YouTube and they'll be like, I really don't want to tell them what I do. I'm really not comfortable with telling them.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I make YouTube videos. If I had to tell them I did that for a living, it wouldn't really bother me.
I can see where those people are coming from, kind of wanting to keep it concealed, especially YouTubers that have a lot more subscribers and, privacy becomes a concern. But, just as a small YouTuber, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's actually something, I take pride in, and I'm sure you do too.
Especially when you work on it for so many years.
And especially when you start putting out content that you are actually proud of. Just, there's videos that you put out that you're just like, man, could care either way. Or there's videos you put out that you're like, man, I want the world to see this. You know what I mean? I'm proud of this. I want people to see this. I don't care if I know you on the street or online. I want people to see this. You have those videos, right?
Yeah, and that's where I'm coming from with the whole, I'm not scared to tell people things, because I'm like, wow, I actually did put a lot of effort into this, and I wouldn't mind more people seeing it.
You get exposure.
I'm not going hanging out flyers and shit.
Yeah. Oh man. I got a job working at a bar, and my boss, I didn't tell anybody I run a YouTube channel, so it wasn't important to my job description in any way, shape, or form. It's not important for anybody to know that I run a YouTube channel, because that's something I do in my own time. But you know, I told a couple people there, and they went and told my boss, and my boss was like, what, you run social media? Like, you know how to run that? Like, he's getting a new bowling alley system put in, and it's all high tech and advanced, and he's wanting me to come in and make a commercial and advertise his new bowling system he's being put in. And
that's a good opportunity.
It's a really good opportunity. He's wanting to pay me and everything for it, and, you know, me tell him a price. And, you know, I've gone to college for video production, all that kind of stuff, but I get nervous about opportunities like that. I don't know what it is. It's like, I'm a YouTuber, you know, we don't make super professional content, you know what I mean? We kind of slouch a little bit on things. And so when I get set with a professional situation like that, I kind of flinch, because I'm like, you know, I don't want to mess this up in any way, shape, or form. I'll put too much effort into it. I'll overthink it, because I've done this for college projects, and I'll stress on it more than I think the project's worth to me. Like,
I just want to mention something real quick. I got my roommate beside me, and he's passed out and he's snoring. So if you hear any background noise, that's from him.
I hear it, dude.
You're saying all this stuff, and I'm trying so hard not to burst out laughing.
Oh man, that's great. That's great. All right. Okay. So that's a little intro for me and T here of who we are. We're both YouTubers, apparently.
We both work jobs.
We both have a job. You work at...
Normal people. Work at a retail store.
You work at a retail store. Specifically? A specific one? Or is it the one with the bullseye thing?
It might be.
It might be.
With the red circle.
Yeah, with the red circle.
A lot of gaming stuff goes on there.
And is your attire possibly tan pants and a red shirt?
It could be. Maybe it's a little more on the khaki side.
More on the khaki side. Okay. Maybe a little more casual. Okay.
More like a rose-colored shirt, something like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Let's. You guys get the point. Okay. We both have jobs here. We're both trying to become YouTubers. We're both on the rise. T's been working here. I think he deserves more credit for what he's getting. There we go. He's like, I ain't thinking about that right now.
No.
All right.
I'm off tomorrow. I ain't worried about it.
So what is the Pixel T podcast? So if you haven't figured it out by this point, the Pixel T podcast is going to be a little show between me and T here. We're both hosting it, and it's just going to be us talking about different things happening in the gaming scene, maybe drama happening in the YouTube scene, mostly gaming stuff, but we're not going to set any particular restrictions to what we can and can't talk about. Primarily gaming.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be centered around, but I mean, it can be about anything, really.
Yeah.
If something comes up, we can talk about it.
We're just going to have some fun and talk about different gaming-related articles. We both come from two different backgrounds. I'm more of a Nintendo Xbox gamer. T here is more, had more experience with PlayStation and PC. So there's different perspectives to be had through this podcast, and I'm really excited to be doing this with you, man. And I hope you all, as an audience, as T's audience and my audience, I hope you guys appreciate this and enjoy this. And thank you guys for watching this. So I think we should get started. What do you think?
All right, I'm ready to go.
I mean, we got the Nintendo Switch dropping in it's 8 days, 7 days technically.
Really? I forgot it was even that close. Jesus.
6 days technically. Yeah. I mean,
3rd, wasn't?
Is there any buzz going on at Target right now with the Nintendo Switch? You guys getting a bunch of calls or what?
Not at the moment. I'm not sure, but I guarantee you I will hear about it. Just like I heard about the NES Classic.
Yeah. What did you hear about that NES Classic?
And I didn't even realize it was the day that it was coming out when I heard about this. But we were sitting here and we have these huddles where we just kind of talk about what's going on, and usually it's about truck size and stuff with the area that I work. But the person came by and she was like, all right, so this new Nintendo thing's coming out, and there's also these Hatchables. I think that's what it's called. Those were a big thing at the time. Yeah, Hatchables, something like that.
Whatever they're called.
And they're like, this new Nintendo's coming out, and this is not something worth losing your job on. We only have 3 of them right now. So don't try to hide those in the back or anything. You can go on your break and clock out and buy them and stuff like that. Yeah, I was shocked when I heard that there was only 3 in stock. So
that's too little.
I'm sure, as everybody knows by now, those things were extremely short stocked.
They very much were. And Nintendo, in their defense, said that it was because they were marketing it towards the 30, 40-year-old market. People thought that they, used to play NES back in their days. stopped, and then saw it as a good opportunity to play it again. But turns out, well, the Nintendoans like myself wanted one as well, and completely sold Nintendo stock out. And now they're rethinking it. They just released some more, and I managed to pick one up myself on Amazon. Just like boom. It was pretty much gone right after that.
Amazon?
Yeah,
really?
Amazon. It was on Amazon for a little bit there, and I've fortunately got one.
Yeah, I've heard rumors that they're stopping production of them in a few months. Actually,
That's
really,
insane.
yeah.
I hope they don't, and I'm sure a lot of fans hope they don't as well, because there's a whole lot of people who still want them, man, and they're getting moddable and everything. They're getting more valuable.
Yeah. I know a lot of. I know Nintendo just has a really bad history with not supplying enough when they could.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Yeah, they are coming in a little more in stock now. And the thing that makes me most happy about that is all these scalpers and people who bought them all up, they're lowering their prices on them because they can't sell them, and that makes me so happy.
Dude,
and
sure.
When I heard that they were short stocked, I just crossed my fingers and I hope that they weren't going to be able to sell them.
These scalpers, man, they're going to go for the Switch. They're going to keep trying for the NES Classics. They're probably still the ones who are still snagging the NES Classics and still making there to be so much suction in the demand of the market.
Yeah. I haven't really heard much about the Switch. I'm not sure what the stock's going to be looking like on that, but I'm interested to find out.
Well, lucky you, because we're about to have a discussion on the Switch right here on the PT podcast. Is that our first commercial within the podcast?
Yeah, it's pretty good. The Pixel T podcast, the PT podcast, whatever we're going with.
The Pixel T podcast.
The PTP.
The PTP. Whenever I think of PT, I think of that one demo.
Oh, yeah, that thing that never came out because Konami's Konami.
Yeah, that's what I always think about when I think of our podcast. And now I think that people watching our podcast are going to think about that same thing. Yeah. Anyways, let's get into the Nintendo Switch. And we're going to discuss it in its detail. Let's start off with the hardware. What is the Nintendo Switch? The Nintendo Switch, it's Nintendo's brand new console since the Wii U failed, miserably failed, in every regards to every component that it had. And it's a fully portable console. You can take off the controllers. It's got a NVIDIA Tegra X1 in there, which is some of the best ARM processors on the freaking market. With their GPU being unmatched. It's got OpenGL support. It's got everything that you would want in a GPU, but it's on a little system on a chip that can be a portable device like the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
It's got Zelda Breath of the Wild launching with it. It's got 1-2 Switch. The launch game seemed to be a little dry with it, which is kind of unfortunate. You know, I'm not a Bomberman guy. Have you ever played Bomberman? Do you have any interest in Bomberman? Yeah, I don't have any interest. I don't even know what it is. You know, I never played it as a kid, never stuck with me. So the hardware is pretty impressive, being able to have that power of the Tegra X1. Do you know anything about ARM processor system on chips? I mean, you bought that one Chinese Android device that was like a DS or something?
GPXD. Yeah, it looked just like a DS. I mean, I've known a little bit about it. I remember having I had an Asus tablet, and it had like an NVIDIA Tegra 3 or something like that. That was before the K1.
Okay, so you've seen where the line has been in the past.
Yeah, I've seen the progression.
Yeah, the progression with NVIDIA's chips is unmatched, and so many people get upset about the Nintendo Switch not having, PS4, Xbox One powerful hardware. But the thing is, this processor, this GPU, this NVIDIA Tegra X1 actually has almost the power of the Xbox One in the portable form factor that you can take around with you.
Yeah. You have to keep in mind that they're making it as a portable system too, and they need the actual GPU to be able to do that. And I also heard that they're using the Tegra K1 to kind of assist in third-party support, because that was a big thing that the Wii U couldn't really do, and they're trying to really push that in this new system.
Yeah, the Tegra X1's very easy to develop for because it's a system on a chip. And when I first saw this NVIDIA Tegra X1 chip, back when it came out on the Switch T, or not the Switch, Switch TV, the Shield TV, I saw it on the Shield TV. I wasn't all that impressed because they took that system on a chip, the Tegra X1, and they just put it in a set-top box with infinite power being supplied to it. It meant nothing really to me. You know, I wanted to see that power in a tablet. So you still had the NVIDIA Shield tablet, which had the Tegra K1 in it, and that was very impressive. And to be able to see the superior to the K1 was really awesome. So I think people should appreciate the NVIDIA, the Nintendo Switch having the NVIDIA Tegra X1 in it because it's super powerful chip. Really.
Yeah, if anybody's going to take advantage of it, it's definitely going to be the Switch, and that's really going to show the true power of it.
And see, that's the thing that you got to appreciate with the Switch is Nintendo will make sure that chip gets utilized. Whereas if it's on an Android device, you know, that powerful hardware is not going to get utilized. It's going to get, you know, maybe some ports or something like that.
That's my biggest problem with any kind of Android gaming is I just couldn't get use out of it, really.
You can't. You really can't, man. That's the sad dead end to all these cool Android devices, I think, is that they're all pretty much dead ends because of the games. You know, they had this little device that had a 3D display, and it was like the Nintendo Switch. It released a few months before the Nintendo Switch. Did you end up seeing that little device floating around?
Is it a Nintendo device or?
Not a Nintendo. It was an Android device. It had a 3D display. It had like controllers that you could take off. Had like a nice display.
Oh, never heard of it.
Yeah, it was $300, and it came out like November or something of last year, and it was being compared directly to the Switch. And you know, the thing is that it's a cool device, but it's not going to really have any games that you're going to want to play on it, or it's going to be a pain in the butt getting the games working. You know, Android just doesn't work perfectly like a Nintendo Switch would.
No.
So
Nintendo really does take advantage of that power, and I'm really hoping that they do push the third-party support with this one, because the Wii U just didn't have that. It was really hard for them to push it with some other things, but the third-party support definitely would have helped.
Of course, man. I completely agree. And, you know, I think that it's important that the Nintendo Switch gets that third-party support, because we need to see games like Call of Duty come into the Switch. We need to see games like Battlefield come into the Switch. We need to see games that you get on the Xbox One come to the Switch so that people can be convinced that this is a good system that they can get all around. This is a system I can play Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty, on the go. I can play the campaign, hook up to some 4G LTE and play online. You know, take this around, put it in the dock at home, play it. The possibilities are incredible if these third parties jump on board. It's a slick device. I mean, it's thin. It's a sexy looking device, and to be able to have all of those sexy games on it.
I'm really interested in it, to be honest. And I've always taken an interest in Nintendo stuff and the stuff that they do. But just as a disclaimer, he's going to know a lot more about the Nintendo side of things than me. So if you hear him talking a lot about it and me not much, that's why.
Yeah, and I'm sure things will kind of change as you know, as the podcast goes on and we start picking up more on things. The Nintendo Switch is going to be awesome. Like, I think everything people have a problem with it are starting just to get incinerated because it's such a well-made device. And there are some issues like the Joy-Cons. They're getting disconnected apparently if they're not in the line of sight of the Nintendo Switch, which is kind of worrying. Hopefully Nintendo can fix that. That's kind of a downfall, don't you think? If your controllers are disconnecting when you get 10 feet away and you can't reliably play on the couch from your Switch, you know? I mean, that's kind of an issue.
Especially with all the motion games they're going to be doing with it.
Yeah, precisely. You know, it needs to be very accurate, and it needs to be, if there's people in front of you, there's people, you know, stuff in front of you, you should still be able to have that connection with the Switch and your controllers. Hopefully it's not hardware, and it can actually be fixed by software.
Yeah, well, I remember that being a problem with one of the showings they were doing with it when they were showing it off in the big audiences.
Really?
But I think a problem that they were saying that was caused by was all the interference around it. Mm-hmm. So that could be a cause of the issues too. Oh,
the interference for sure. I think what's going to happen is they're going to have to, by software, amp up the frequency of the Bluetooth or something, or amp up how strong the signal is sent from the controllers so that it keeps a constant connection. Because honestly, if Nintendo can't get this right, this is going to be a huge downfall for them with the Switch. Like, people are going to be turned off if this turns out to be a hardware issue. I would be very upset if my Joy-Con controllers got disconnected while I'm sitting on my couch, or they're unreliably sending inputs. You know, that's kind of like you're trying to play a video game here. You need your accurate input, you know.
I'm really interested in how they're going to take advantage of the Joy-Cons, how they just slide out from the entire console itself.
Yeah.
I'm really curious of it.
I'm curious myself. It looks pretty awesome. Speaking of the controllers, we have two little Joy-Con controllers that come out of the sides. Two people can play on the single Switch at any given time, which I think is super cool. I think you could respect, emulators being used, busting out some Super Mario World or something and being able to have to play two-player or play some two-player games, virtual console style with two different controllers right then and there. McDonald's, wherever you're at, freaking, I don't know, freaking Saudi Arabian desert, freaking playing. I don't even know. Apparently, you can go anywhere with the Switch.
Nintendo commercial Saudi Arabian desert.
Yeah, just the Saudi Arabian desert.
ISIS gunfight going on.
Yeah. Screw water intake, screw eating. You're just pissing yourself in the Arabian desert playing your Nintendo Switch. Oh, gosh, yeah. Freaking grenades going off everywhere.
All you see is Mario Kart on the screen jumping around.
Yeah, just getting your Mario Kart in. Oh, man. All right, controllers. Being able to play anywhere at any given time. You can bust out some freaking Mario Kart with your girlfriend. You can get some Smash going with your friend at the dog park.
Smash.
Yeah, you can smash wherever now with 2P. Controllers are pretty cool. Games coming out for the Nintendo Switch. What games would you want to see come to this platform?
They seem to be covering the basis. If I was buying a Switch, I'd be definitely looking for Splatoon because that was something I wanted to play that I never was able to get into. Mario Kart. Those are the two main things I'm interested in. Zelda Breath of the Wild, you already know that's going to be great.
Splatoon is going to be great. I can't wait for another Splatoon. What games would convince you to buy a Switch, being, a PC, PS4, Call of Duty style gamer? What is a game that would come to the Switch that would make you buy one instantly? Just change your mind.
I wouldn't necessarily say Call of Duty or Battlefield specifically, but I would like to see shooters coming to the Switch, something that really shows that they're pushing more of an adult-centered audience in a way.
Yeah.
A lot of third-party support. A lot of third-party support would make me a lot more interested in it. A broad open library is really what I would be looking forward to because I had the Vita, and I really put all of my trust into it, and it had almost really no third-party support. It really died off quick just because of that small library it had. Yeah. And that really disappointed me, and I don't want that to happen with something like the Switch.
The Vita, man, it was a cool device, don't you think? It was a successor to the PSP. I thought it was going to be everything and more. I thought it was going to be my firstborn child, I thought it was like going to run GameCube games and shit, and it never ended up doing that.
I think a big problem with it was that a lot of developers were scared of it. They were scared to put the money and resources into a portable console like that, especially at the time when the mobile market was just booming with all these little cheap games that you could find on the App Store.
Right.
They just see the point and really,
Another point that someone made, as to why the Vita could have failed is, sorry, the everything froze for a sec. One of the reasons that the Vita could have failed is that the price to make games and the expectation of what the game should have been on the PS Vita was higher than mobile game developers were willing to really pay. Because now you're not expecting a little 3DS game where the graphics can be all cartoony, no lighting or anything like that, easy to kind of produce. Now you're kind of getting expected to make some high quality AAA X graphics. Yes, on the PS Vita. The developers could not keep up with it, man. It was too triple.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think cost for developers to develop for that platform and the expectations that people had, set for them because it was a next generation portable, it just all fell apart.
No, it's just a big anime player device.
It's a big JRPG device. Okay, so lastly, with the Nintendo Switch, man, are you gonna buy it?
I'm really interested in it. I don't think I'm gonna get it at launch, but I'm gonna wait and just see what's supported on it. If more games and a lot of third-party support come to it, I'm definitely gonna be a lot more interested in picking it up. I think there's a good chance of me picking it up the more it's supported and the more games that come out for it. Right now, you know, just being kind of like a guy that's just kind of on the sidelines watching Nintendo stuff, I've never been enticed to just jump on the console like the Wii U. Like, I was interested in it, but as we know, the Wii U wasn't all that extravagant, and I don't want that to be the same case with the Switch.
Right. The Wii U, it was fat, it was clunky, it's slow. You know, I was gifted a Wii U by Athos, Athos Games. He also happens to work at Target, actually. You know, biggest thing somebody's ever done for me, you know, buy me a freaking game console. And I love it and I appreciate it. The Wii U, though,
I saw that. That was crazy.
Yeah, it changed my life for real. And I just feel like I can never repay him, you know, enough. You know, I can thank him to the stars and back, which is what he wanted, just a thank you. But anyways, the Wii U, you know, I've got it set up where I could play, you know, emulators and stuff like that and have a nice little N64 virtual console library, you know, some NDS virtual console library. It's set up for all that. But the time it takes to boot the freaking thing up and the time it takes to actually get into that stuff, like compared to modern consoles, is just ridiculous. It's slow. It's a dinosaur, dude. That thing only has 1 gigabyte of RAM.
I actually didn't know that. I didn't know it was that slow.
Dude, 1 gigabyte of RAM? You know what? I gotta give props to freaking those games Nintendo made. You know, the Mario and Smash and Mario Kart. How good they made him look with only 1 gigabyte of RAM. Holy hell!
Nintendo's really good at, you know, utilizing what they got. But still, 1 gigabyte of RAM when you got, this was at the time the PS4 was coming out, wasn't it?
This is like, this is, it's like, it was in between the 360, PS3, and the PS4, Xbox One. It was like on the tail end before it released.
And another thing about Nintendo is it seems like they like to play in their own league. They don't necessarily try to compete with the other developers, the other manufacturers, but still, it could have benefited from some more power.
It really could have. And, you know, speaking of third-party developers, those developers need that power, you know, and when you go with a foreign CPU type and you know, underpower it, and the developers are just like, man, the headache to put this onto the Nintendo Wii U is not worth it. We can go milk our cash cow on Xbox One and PS4. Why would we want to develop for this system that has like 2 kids playing it? Freaking it
PS3.
Sucks. Yeah. It just wasn't, it was a system that just, you know, Nintendo realized it failed. And it's sad. It's a sad, but I'm glad that it did. I'm glad the Nintendo Wii U is that it's just that bad story, that bad dream. We can just say it's over and move on. Finally get the Switch.
Nintendo really likes to stay in their own lane, and that can be a good thing and a bad thing. They don't like to, you know, address criticisms and stuff like that and really improve them. But we can hope for it.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely hope for it.
I think they're more or less in the right direction with it. We'll see. Yep. You're picking up the Switch, aren't you?
Oh, for sure.
I'm looking forward to that. As somebody who's not adopting it day one, I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with it, because I know you're going to make good use of it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely start tearing up some Switch videos. I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I haven't really covered the Switch, you know, coming up to this point. You probably would understand this as a YouTuber. You know, there's so much people reporting on it. It's just like, why would I want to weigh in on this? Like 1 million people and their dog. You know, I kind of discourage myself. You know,
to be honest, I think that that's the best for you, because you have dominated in the whole 3DS modding scene when nobody else is really seeming to do that. I don't know. I don't keep up with a lot of that. I mainly watch you, but it seems like you're doing a really good job of it, and it's paid off. You've grown really quickly.
Yeah, it's actually been insane, the amount of growth that I've gotten from the 3DS scene, and I didn't really expect it. It was more
just off the 3DS too, right?
Yeah, it's been almost all the 3DS. I uploaded a couple 3DS videos here and there, and they just always seem to get a lot of views, and I didn't understand it. And then I just I started up Pixel News, and I just kind of kept it around gaming, and then I kind of just started reporting on 3DS, and then it just blew up, dude.
I remember how small Pixel News was when you were first starting it off, and now it's where it's at now. It's great. And this honestly shocks me. This is just off of the small little 3DS community alone.
Yeah, I gotta say, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, I'm just proud of what I've created and what, you know, where I've put myself in life and where I put myself in the scene. And I have, like, people know me in the 3DS scene. Like, people recognize me. You know, I've released a homebrew. People talk about that, you know. They mention it all the time.
I got a really good story about that homebrew too, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, I don't know if you know do you know Nazi Zombies Portable? Are you familiar with that at all?
Of course, man. Of course.
Yeah, I'm actually friends with the guy who started it, Mitch.
Mitch,
and, I was talking to him the other day, and I was like, "Do you still?" Because he used to have 3DS. I was like, "Do you still have that 3DS? Would you be willing to sell it, maybe?" And he was like, "Is this about that that Halo homebrew that came out recently?" I'm like, kind of. That guy asked me to kind of do like a map pack for him, and yeah, I actually know that guy. And he was like, "What?" He was like genuinely surprised that I knew you.
Dang,
it was such a funny thing. Small world.
No, it's funny. Speaking about that homebrew and how it got released, and I brought it up for the 3DS, you know, just for fun. And all the developers of that project, Flaming Ice, came and they all gave me the green light. And I'm like, you know, I was kind of, you know, shaky about starting this project back up, you know, just knowing how they were as a team. You know, they were very, very protective of their, you know, their assets.
I don't know. CJ saw it, and CJ was really cool in it.
He was very cool.
Nux.
And I'm happy that they were cool and that they weren't like, you know what, those are our assets, you got to take it down. Because Revamped was a mod of Solitude, which was a mod of Quake, and you know,
I mean, a lot of that code was yours, though. Honestly, you like really put that game in a completely another lane that it wasn't in.
Yeah, at the time it was incredible. You put a lot of work
in that for the time.
I really did. Like
a lot of people seeing it now may not be able to really appreciate it, but if you come from where I came from, when it was just this little PSP mod and playing those leaks that I shouldn't have had, you can really see where it's came.
Dude,
it's just unbelievable.
It was. No one's going to be able to have that appreciation unless they went through what we did. And my life, dude, was all about Quake and Quake modding at that time, going through high school. I was, you know, I just moved in with my dad and in Washington. I had to switch schools, and I was kind of just this loner, dude. I went from, you know, being a popular guy at my other school, you know, being cool with everybody and having a bunch of friends, to go into this school in another state where I couldn't even make a single friend. So I'd go to the library by myself and play my PSP, and I was depressed. I was like sad, no friends, no nothing in the school I just don't like. And I stayed like that all freaking year. And so something about my dad getting into a divorce and my family just falling apart. We moved into this basement, and I just kind of like, you know, started picking up coding at that time, and my life just absolved to Quake modding and Halo Revamped and all of that.
I'm gonna be honest, all your Quake modding, it really impressed me. Like, you would release these new mods. I remember when you were playing around with like physics and stuff, and I was like, wow, how did you do that? That's insane. And then the firefight thing, that was really crazy to me. That was like something that they never really did. It was like, you coded all this yourself, and you basically made a playable beta out of this, and they never were able to do this.
That's the mindset I had. I was a fan, right? I was a fan of these. I had the same vision they had. I want Halo on the PSP. That was what they wanted, because they went through the whole Halo had to be dropped from their name thing, and they were kind of trying to distance themselves, but it was the same want, right? They wanted Halo, we wanted Halo. So when I finally gained the ability to be able to put what I wanted into a game, I went haywire, dude. I added everything. I was a Halo freak, dude. I was like, man, the grenades are infinite in this game. That pisses me off. I want limited grenades, because this isn't how freaking this goes. So I limited the grenades. I freaking coded the ability to switch between the grenades. I just started like figuring out all this programming and code and stuff, and it just changed my life. It really did.
How did you do the weapon switch animations? Did you actually animate those yourself?
I didn't animate the switch weapons. They were already animated in the files. Flaming Ice had already animated them. They just never coded them. So
I wondered that.
I coded a way to be able to. It was no easy task. That switching animations freaking thing was such a pain in the butt. And that's the thing, is people don't understand how little that little feature is, but how accomplished I was when I actually added that into the code, and how cool it probably was for you and all the other people around. You're like, wow.
It was really cool to me, because like they had all this time and they never did that, and then all of a sudden you come, boom, you get all this stuff in the game.
Mr. Greasy was all over that, dude. Joe Mart started modding freaking Revamped. Joe Mart was a Spanish modder.
I talked to him a little bit.
Yeah, he's friendly. You know, he's still modding to this day. Jomart 2000 was one of the people who started Halo PSP modding. Like, he's one of the original people who got everybody's creative minds set to want to mod and make a Halo PSP.
The thing about Jomart was that he didn't like basically make anything. The cool thing was that he literally ripped it from Halo and put it straight over. I honestly thought it was kind of cool.
It was, dude. It was freaking sick how he did everything, and they were all high polygon models, but just clipped enough to be able to work in the game. And his models were such high memory that you could only have one model per game.
Oh yeah,
because he would have like shotgun beta,
shotgun beta,
rocket launcher. You had to like choose which Jomart version you wanted to use. Oh, let's use the rocket launcher because the Spartan model had the rocket launcher animated, and the freaking everything just worked for that one weapon. And then he just released a bunch of betas with different weapons. But
I spent so much time in that.
Dude, it was gold, wasn't it? It was like literally when the new leak came out, it was $1 million. It was like winning the lottery if you got a new build. And I knew a few of them were floating around, but that game sparked my creativity and imagination so much, and my want. And I remember I applied to be a part of this Solitude team, you know, like as a mapper. And we were such noobs back then too, dude. Like I wouldn't hire us like back in the day.
That's why I just hacked him.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, this guy figured out how to freaking hack him. Well, it wasn't really a hack. It was more of like, what would you call it?
I don't really remember the entire process through what I did, but I remember I faked being one of the developers, I think, and I basically got him to send me his password. It was CJ. I bless him. I love him. We're cool, but
over Dropbox or what?
Yeah, I got it over Chatango. I pretended to be one of the developers through there, and he gave me his password, and then I logged into the Dropbox and had their entire project file. Like I had everything they were working on, and then I took the PSP build.
What was your feeling right then and there? Like, was your heart beating and stuff? Like when you logged in, you're like, "Holy crap, it worked!"
When I actually logged in, I felt like I just won the lottery because I was such a big fan at the time. I was like, "Wow, this is a real." To me, it was like almost like a AAA project, honestly.
Yeah, it really was.
And I was like, wow, I got every single file they're working on. I got stuff that nobody else has. I got them working on the flood and all this other stuff.
You're just like, okay. Oh. But nothing freaking ever worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm gonna make I'm just gonna use this to my advantage and make a video of me leaking everything.
Yeah, dude, Mr. Greasy.
Yeah, Mr. Greasy. I think he hated me at the time. Like he had some beef with me.
He had beef with both of us, dude. He came around he ripped me off. I had an $20 Xbox Live card, dude. And me and him, we were striking up a deal. I'm this little kid, like this little 14, 13-year-old kid. Got an Xbox Live card. And he's like, yo, I'll send you the files. Give me the Xbox Live code. And I'm like, send me the files first, and I'll give you the code. And he's like, dude, I'm going to give you the freaking files. Just give me the code. And so I gave him the code. And then he freaking never replied. And then all of a sudden, like freaking a couple hours later, he replies, oh shit, my account was hacked, dude. I'm so sorry. That wasn't me. Dude, he straight up took my $20. He stole from a little kid, man. I mean, that's how desperate I was to get a build of that game. I was giving up my only $20 Xbox Live card.
Was this before or after my leak?
That was before your leak. That was like when I was first getting into the scene, didn't really know how to do anything. It was
you screenshotted me. You screenshotted me a picture of the actual build on your PSP, and it actually had like my name on the boot file, and I was like, I don't even remember doing that.
Oh man, I don't
even remember that.
We're gonna have to make a video going back on that kind of stuff, playing those games, going back just like with commentary about it, because it's really interesting times. Like that was one of the most interesting times in my life, and that was really. I didn't mean to cut you off. Oh, I was going to say it's because of that I'm here on this podcast right now, because that's what got me into making my YouTube channel.
I was thinking that maybe we could do maybe like some kind of multiplayer thing. Maybe on the new Halo thing that you released, if we could figure out a way to set up some multiplayer on that, and maybe we do a video off of that, that would be cool. And maybe if I don't know if I want to bring it up now, but I was supposed to be working on the map packs or a map for your actual build of it. And I was thinking maybe if I do that, we could actually do a multiplayer gameplay of it. And that's the way we could release it from there.
For sure. I think there's a lot of ways we could go about that. And I think the new maps can be really cool. Speaking of maps being made, we might as well explain. T here is making a map for Revamped for the 3DS. It's going to be the 4th map to the game. Do you have anything about this map planned out already? I mean, do you have anything like particular about it?
I'm going to be honest here. I remember almost nothing about mapping, but I plan on drawing out a concept, and there was kind of recently, like around maybe 2013, 2014, a new program that apparently these people were working on for making Quake maps. And I'm going to be looking into that because that's supposedly a little more advanced than like Worldcraft and Hammer was at the time. And I should be able to do more with it from there. So I'm looking forward to trying that out, and we'll see where we can go from there. I plan on drawing up some concepts and working with something.
I kind of want to try that map editor as well. Senior Meatbox, he got a hold of me, and he's wanting to put a single player map onto Revamp for 3DS, and I sent him the FGD files, the mapping files, to be able to do that. We'll see what comes from that. So there could be a couple different new maps coming to Revamped, hopefully.
I would like to see the things being constantly supported and posted up in this community, because Solitude, it had so much potential and it just died so suddenly just because it wasn't released. They released a PC version, and
it really is
never came through with the PSP build. So I mean, this is kind of picking up where that left off in a sense.
In a sense, it really is. And I'm still wanting to add different things to the actual gameplay, like custom mapping controls. Instead of just having the default Quake mapping controls in the options, actually tailor them to the actual buttons in the game with the 3DS controls. I think that's something I could do pretty soon. Firefight's not operating. Good. I mean, it works, but there's just like this random crash that I'd get, and sometimes I'll get it, sometimes I don't, but it's too unreliable that I don't want people really playing it until I figure out what it is. But there's still new content coming to Revamp, so there's, could be some more exciting stuff still going in that direction.
I'm just a little curious. Were you actually able ever to contact, or have you thought about contacting the guy who did that port over of Quake to the 3DS? And maybe you could work with him on some stuff?
Master Fies? You know what? I haven't really... I've talked to him and seen if he could get, hardware rendering going on the 3DS, but... I think he's a pretty busy guy because he doesn't just work on the 3DS. He works on the PS Vita. He works on porting emulators and stuff, and he just does so much bigger projects than Quake on the 3DS. Yeah. I couldn't see him really coming back, especially it's just Quake to him. I mean, he got what he intended to do, put software Quake on the 3DS. Hardware rendering, is it really worth his time? I guess we'll find out and see. But it would be nice to have him help. But I'm just not a good enough coder, and I'm not going to try to, make it out that I am, because I'm not.
I can't believe how long Quake has really lasted.
Dude, it's a incredible game.
Quake is such an old game, but it's still being supported in a way today.
Still being modded. Let me ask you this: have you actually played Quake?
No.
Have Quake modders actually played Quake?
No, seriously, I played maybe a very tiny bit, but I never really got into Quake itself because I was always too busy with the mods.
Yeah, it was all about Kurek. It was all about Solitude. It was all about Revamped. It was all about Joe Mart's J-Lo. It was never about the actual Quake, dude.
That's unfortunate. I might download GL Quake or one of the updated Quake versions of Quake on my PC and give it a go.
I wonder if the single player, if there's a co-op version of Quake, dude, that would be so fun to go and play Quake together and experience what the hell? Oh, that's what that monster was. That wasn't a grunt. That was an actual grunt, like a soldier grunt.
Yeah, I'd be interesting to see if somebody's actually modded that.
Oh, faux show. I imagine it, dude. They've modded everything.
I played some Quake 3 Arena, if that counts. Not really the same thing, but it is. Yeah,
it's way different than Quake 1. I mean, the campaign, yeah. Oh. Anyways, let's keep moving on here. So we've talked about the Switch. We've talked about Breath of the Wild. Or no, we haven't talked really about Breath of the Wild. We're going to skip that because what hasn't been said about Breath of the Wild? It's a great game. It looks incredible. Can't wait to freaking play it. Sucks that it's not the third. we're done. All right, the recent copyright strikes from the Belgian Anti-Piracy Federation that I got. I figured we could talk about that. I was kind of curious. You know about that situation that happened, right?
Oh yeah.
I got a couple of my videos taken down by the Belgian Anti-Piracy Federation. It was my video streaming showcase from NTR, as well as a tutorial for REINAND, EmuNAND, and installing FBI. And their claims was that I had unauthorized use of Nintendo gameplay. So that was their thing. It wasn't about piracy, wasn't about me having homebrew. I think it was that they pegged me because they knew that I wasn't promoting piracy and that they couldn't get me on those grounds. So
Nintendo just has something against people using their intellectual property or whatever. They don't like free advertisement. They like going after anybody and everybody who uses their content in their videos.
And I don't understand, because free advertising is good for everybody, the advertisers and the thing that's getting advertised. I think as long as you're not going around, messing up Nintendo's name, talking slander about them all the time, I don't see any problem with it.
I don't know why they go about things the way they do. I think the situation about rental companies back in the day, and they were trying to get them for saying that they were just renting copies of the game. They didn't actually own it. It was just like they were licensing it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you know.
Yeah, I read a little bit about that. Yeah. And that just comes to show how stagnant Nintendo really is on their IP. And I think they have incredible IPs. They really have the best in the industry when it comes to their IPs. And I can see why they would want to protect it. But they also have to understand their IPs would be pointless without their fans. And they need to stop treating their fans so terribly. And so
I don't know if it's because they're stingy with their content or if they're just not with the times, because you got to keep in mind, back when PSP hacking was a thing, you didn't see Sony cracking down on all these people doing these PSP modding videos. Now they did, release updates and they tried to patch it because piracy was unbelievably easy on the PSP when you hacked it, but still, they didn't go after these people like Nintendo has. It's just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And I think the only way to get around that is by joining Nintendo's partnership program, which even that's really limited. You're limited to what you can upload on that too.
Yeah. And not only that, but you're, now splitting your profits up with Nintendo and YouTube and Google.
It's like your mom giving you allowance money.
I'm doing all the work here, and I'm getting a little tiny slice of the pie. That's really unproportionable to what you should be getting for creating. So I think that their partnership program, it's a step in the right direction, but it's still not fair. For a creator like me, I don't make that much money off YouTube. That stepping into there, and especially if you have like a network that you're part of, these networks like to take a chunk too. So if you're part of a network and you're part of the partnership program with YouTube, it's like, well, you're not doing this for money, really. So what's the point of even doing it all then?
And I gotta be honest, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, would have been a better time to mention this, but I'm actually kind of terrified to get the Switch because I'm terrified to actually make content, make videos on it, which is something I would really want to do if I got the Switch, because I'm spending all that money on it. I want to create my own work off of it, and it's just really hard to do that kind of thing.
It really is. You're totally right. And I share that same fear as you. Though
I'm actually so surprised that all of these people have been getting hit, and you're just now coming around with the copyright strike thing, honestly, because of how strict they've been forever.
Yeah. Nintendo is very strict on YouTube, and ways that I've managed to get around it is I just try not to use any gameplay audio. I try to use like fan music. I try to use royalty-free music. I try to not get tripped up by the copyright system. I try to keep away from that.
Yeah.
And now I'm at a point where now I have the BAF going around, copyright striking, whatever. I don't know if they're in the right for doing that. I don't know if I'm in the wrong for what I'm doing. I believe modding your system is legal. As long as you're not.
It's such a gray area.
It's such a gray area. And, as I'm not pirating my games. I'm clearly buying all my games here. I like having physical copies. I'm going to get all my physical copies on the Switch. I like to have my physical copies on the Wii U, on the Xbox One. I like physical copies. And so, where was I going with this? I was expecting this moment to happen at some point, and I'm just surprised that it's happened this late in the podcast.
It had to happen. I don't know if you're too familiar with Jim Sterling, but I listened to his podcast and he was talking about how he would upload Nintendo related videos and he gets striked with the stuff all the time. And it's unbelievably retarded on why it happens. And he said he would go to links as flipping the videos upside down, like flipping trailer footage upside down and terribly distorting it to get around the detection system. And even that doesn't work sometimes with how accurate it is.
It's very accurate.
It's a shame that you should go through that. You shouldn't have to go through that to show off their gameplay, their games. They should want you to.
Yeah, and where does the fair use line get drawn? You know, if you think about it, let's think about it this way. Okay, reviewing something is okay, right? We can review things. In order to review something, you need to show what you're talking about, right? So if I want to take, like, Mario here, Paper Mario, and I wanted to review this game, I have to get some footage of it. If I'm reviewing so I can educate other people about whether this is a good purchase for them or not, isn't it legal for me to be able to get that footage to be able to put into a video? Fair use?
Technically it is fair use, but they'll still go after you even with fair use. They like the Jim Sterling guy I mentioned, he's used their videos in the context of fair use very fairly. I don't want to say it like that, but he has, and they still striked him, and he made a whole video on why it's morally okay to pirate Nintendo games, more or less a serious type of video. But I mean,
I watched it.
Definitely a good thing. Yeah, you watched it.
Yeah, when the whole copyright thing with the BAF was going down, that thing blew up in the 3DS scene. Not just my occurrence, but everybody else's occurrence. I think that video got like 407 upvotes on the 3DS Reddit page, 3DS Hacks Reddit page, and it got people talking on GBA Temp about copyright and 3DS and stuff. So it just sparked a lot of talk. And everybody was sharing that Jimquisition video because it literally came out right at the time this whole thing was going on. And so it was just perfect timing. And yeah, Jim is so right with everything he's saying. Nintendo's not giving us anything. Like, they're overcharging us for products. They're going after all these fan games that could coexist in the real world, and they're not really hurting anybody. Let's be honest, they're not hurting anybody. They're not hurting the Pokemon team. If I play a fan game on my computer, that doesn't change my brain chemistry that I'm not going to go get Pokemon Sun and Moon now. It doesn't.
I mean, you're attacking the fans. That's the worst part about it. These people who are making games just being proud to be a supporter of Nintendo are getting attacked.
Where would you be, dude, if you were a complete asshole to your fans all the time? Where would you be? Would your fans want to stick around? Why do we stick around? It's because they're... It's because there's
especially not with us. No.
It's like the Nintendo drug, dude. It's like you can't stop. You can hate it. You can want to stop as much as you can, but you're freaking. Let's get some fist here. Yeah, you're Nintendo. Take your Nintendo pill.
I think the thing is that we're the vocal minority, and they still have like this broad audience of children and families that are going to buy their products wherever. They don't see this side of things. And
they really don't.
I think that's a big issue too.
They see what they choose to see, and they're seeing it from a corporate side. I can understand, where they're seeing homebrew and stuff. Homebrew enables piracy at some point. That's their mindset. So stop it. They're going to try to stop it so they can stop piracy. It's logical. I can understand it. Are they going about it necessarily the right way?
But they don't need to stifle content creativity on YouTube with that, They shouldn't be punishing. They shouldn't be punishing people like you who just, show stuff off, like modding showcases and ways to actually hack your 3DS, even because you're just showing the exploits. They shouldn't be punishing you.
Yeah.
They should be just patching it, just like with the PSP. I think that's a perfect example. Is Sony, took care of their patches. They did what they needed to do, but they didn't hurt creators in the process.
No.
I just think Nintendo, they, like I said, they're either really stingy or they're just out of touch with, the modern times and how YouTube works.
I think that's probably a big part of it.
They're super paranoid.
They are super paranoid. They're very very paranoid. That shows through their parental controls on the 3DS and why all their consoles never have,
no chat feature.
The chat feature, because they're scared that people are gonna cuss online or something like that, and that the online experience can't be guaranteed. So they're gonna completely limit everything, and they're gonna freaking put safety nets on everything and then cut off your enjoyable experience. Why would I want to go on it? Let's go to the Xbox One then, where we don't have to freaking get child-proofed on everything. That's where people go. That's where Nintendo loses people. They think that they're in the right direction, but they don't understand their fans, their audience. They don't understand why Amiibo blew up, dude.
It's so funny because I remember back when I had the PSP, I wanted Call of Duties to come out on it so bad. And there was Call of Duties coming out on the DS. I was just so confused.
They were terrible, dude, too.
I was like, well, why is this the platform it's on? I actually didn't think that they were awful in a way. Just with how feature-rich they were. They were interesting, but yeah, the whole child-proof thing, them being locked down, like the Wii versions of COD 4. It's just funny.
Did you ever play one on the DS? They had like Kino der Toten or something like on there, and it was so weird, stripped down version of zombies.
I did play the Black Ops on the DS. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Absolutely. They're completely separate from the console versions. They're not even the same thing, but it is interesting how they laid it out and how much work actually went into that for the DS version. Like you would think Nintendo, who's somebody who's very first party oriented, even had that kind of thing on the DS. Of all the consoles too.
Money. If they can make it happen, boom, they will.
The child friendly thing, like the DS, marketed to kids. Call of Duty.
Yep. Market it, tone down the violence, whatever you can, turn the blood off. Let's get these to kids, man. Call of Duty on the DS, you got your little stylus and you're just looking around the first person view. That was always terrible controls. I don't see how people like that at all.
The controls were bad, but I mean, it was kind of interesting to see the DS doing that.
Yeah, for sure, dude. And with its little freaking 67 megahertz processor.
I had the DS at the time, and I had Black Ops just for that. I played it for a while, and I think I ended up just selling my DS after that. Yeah,
the DS had a lot of games.
A little bit.
I love the DS.
Played Mario Kart on it.
Mario Kart DS was the best Mario Kart, I think. Seriously.
Let me ask you, do you think a normal 3DS, because this is something I'm looking into, do you think a normal 3DS would be worth picking up in this day, or do you think people should just go ahead and opt for the new 3DS?
Dude, new 3DS hands down. I don't care about the price difference. I think if you want to do anything with your 3DS, mod it, do anything with it. I mean, you're wasting your money getting an old 3DS, because if you just invest into the new 3DS, no limitations. If you're a modder, you don't want limitations, do you? You're obviously modding to break your limitations. So you want maximum. That's why, get the PSP 3000 with extra 32 megabytes of RAM. You know what I mean? Hit it up.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
The new 3DS, you get a better GPU, CPU, more RAM, double the RAM. I mean, more cash. You hear that, everybody? Holy crap. I just heard an angel trumpet somewhere, dude, because I said it right.
Cash.
Hold on. Cash. Just doesn't sound right, dude. Cache. We're done here.
Yeah, funny story. This is actually like our first live conversation, and we happen to have the same mic and headphones.
Yeah, complete opposite colors too. Oh, that is great, man. That is freaking great. All right, dude. Well, I freaking have some questions for you. We've kind of touched on the Nintendo part of things now. Dude, my freaking webcam looks like freaking crap. I should have switched so you could see the crappy version and I could have recorded on my laptop, which looks way better. Mistakes were made on the first episode. Your webcam actually looks half decent. Mine looks like a
920 maybe.
Looks like a bad ham sandwich. I'm just gonna say that. I ain't about that.
Yeah. I thought you had your main laptop recording and you had the shitty webcam.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had it backwards. So we're just going to finish off the podcast like this. We'll do the next one where I'll swap it out. I mean, we're still figuring all this out, so it's all good. All right.
It'll be all right.
So,
if the mic quality is good, I think we're good.
And we are back with our first potty break commercial. Not really. Okay. Anyways, jumping back into the rhythm here. Okay, so since we've already talked about Nintendo, I think it's time we talk kind of about you and some of the stuff that's been going on in your scene.
Oh, you don't have to do
your
that.
Call of Duty scene. So, why did you sell your PS4 and quit Call of Duty? Let's get the scoop real quick.
Okay, so we can just rewind just a little bit if you'd like. Big Call of Duty player. That was basically one of the only games that I played. All I ever uploaded on my channel for the past year or so was Call of Duty videos. And I stuck with the 360 and the PS3 for a long time, just because the older Call of Duties were better. And then around the time of Black Ops 3 coming out, I was like, okay, I'm just going to splurge. I'm going to get the PS4. I'm going to switch to everything next gen so my videos can be high quality, because I want to appeal to the broad audience. So I decided to go full next gen. And Black Ops 3 was okay. And then recently Infinite Warfare has come out with Modern Warfare Remastered. And I just feel like Call of Duty just now isn't the same as it used to be. It's just not as enjoyable as it was for me, you know, a year or two ago. It's just not the same. The community isn't the same. And I was like, hell, I mean, when I'm uploading videos, most of them aren't even Call of Duty. Most recently, I'd upload a Call of Duty video maybe once a month. It got to the point where I was paying for PlayStation Plus, which I hated doing. That was the reason I sold the PS4 on its own. But I was paying for PlayStation Plus, and I paid like $10 a month, and I would maybe play the PS4 maybe an hour or two for that entire month. So it was like, what am I paying for? I'm barely playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And when I do play it, I'm not really enjoying it. So I just decided to ditch PS4 altogether, and for now, I'm just playing on PC because I don't got to pay for my games online, and I've been playing a lot of CSGO, and I really enjoy that. I feel like that's a good alternative to Call of Duty. It offers the same concepts as Call of Duty did, and it's fun, and I don't pay for online, and I really enjoy it. So
it's Counter-Strike looks like a really competitive game where you can't just run out there into the open like a little freaking chicken and start shooting, spraying bullets.
To a certain degree, there is a good bit to learn in CSGO, but at the same time, the real competitive players play on like different servers than CSGO's normal matchmaking servers, which I play on, which are a lot more laid back. You can find really chill lobbies, people just play and have a good time, and that's generally what I play in. It's not extremely competitive, but it does have a competitive aspect to it that makes it fun. It's more fun than like stressful about learning and stuff, and that's what I like, because in Call of Duty it was like you just kind of jump in and play. You learn the maps a little bit, and it's kind of the same way in CS:GO. But there's more of a learning curve to it, but it is really, really fun.
Do you work more with your teammates than just by yourself going out there and trying to get the kills?
Oh, most definitely. Now CS:GO does have like a deathmatch option where it's kind of just like team deathmatch, but I don't really enjoy that. The heart of CSGO, where it's really fun, is the competitive scene, where you have one life, you have the bomb defusal, and you just go out there and you do it. And the teamwork does play a big aspect, and that's something that I really enjoy. And I feel like when you play with people, it makes for some really, really good moments, and that's what I really like about CSGO, is I can just have a great time, have some funny moments, and it gives me a good thing to make a video out of.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you, and. I kind of feel that same thing when I play Battlefield, that sense of satisfaction, when you're doing good, when you're on a spree, you're on fire, you're playing good, got a good team playing with you. It's kind of gets you amped up.
Yeah, the problem with the new Call of Duties is this: it felt so dry playing it. I didn't have fun. I was just in here playing by myself, and it didn't seem like there was a lot to it really, and I just didn't enjoy it. As to where when I play CSGO, I'm playing with people, I'm engaging with people,
Fair enough.
having a good
Move
time.
on.
I'm really, really indulged in the atmosphere, and that wasn't happening with the new CODs for me.
It's just all this futuristic stuff. Is just, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me.
It kind of turned me off a little bit. Yeah, I gave it a chance, but most recently, it's not even just the futuristic stuff. It's just the developers don't really. It's just they don't really touch like the old Call of Duties did. Like Treyarch is like the last original developer of Call of Duties. The Infinity Ward now is like a new branch of people really. So it's not the original people who were doing the older Call of Duties, and that's a big issue too. And that's why I just decided to get rid of it, because the games just don't play like they used to.
I just feel like there's no heart being put into the games anymore. It's okay. We're gonna repackage this with a little something different, a little twist this time, a little twist to keep people playing. You know, a little update. You know, people have to have the latest and greatest, so push out a new game, and people want the latest and greatest.
And that's exactly what it feels like. And on top of that, you have Activision, the publisher, just pushing them to sell all these microtransactions. Really forcing them to push this DLC, push the supply drops, and then also just all these scummy business practices makes it no fun.
It diminishes the value of the game, the core game itself. You know, you can tell when a game is soulless. You can tell when a game has, you know, some love from its creators, and when it's just a freaking recycled piece of trash, you know, freaking people are just buying at this point because it's of its name. You know, look at Battlefield. You know, Battlefield 3 and 4 kind of started to feel like they started to get a little repetitive there. They tried to throw a little Battlefield Hardline. That game just felt rushed and soulless, and it just died. And then they threw out Battlefield 1, and it really feels like they put their effort into researching and creating this atmosphere and creating this game with an actual heart and a soul. And it just feels good to play a game like that again, and not just a rehashed, you know, Halo 5 just kind of feels like they're just jumping on the bandwagon of future stuff. You know, what happened to the good old Spartans, the good old, you know, grab your SMG. It just, now you can hover, and now you got all these jetpacks, and I don't know. I think
the issue with Halo is that they really push this competitive aspect to it, that you can really see that in Halo 5. And honestly, I'm not a huge Halo player, but I played some Halos on the 360. I played the original Halo, and then I kind of tried to play like Halo 5 on my friend's Xbox, and it just wasn't the same game.
No, yeah.
I mean, especially in like Halo 4, where you just have jetpacks, you can sprint, you can jump. It's like, it's not really Halo. No,
it just feels generic to me. I don't know what they did with Halo 4 and Halo 5, but the armor just looks so detailless. It's everything is the same color pretty much. The different I feel like Halo Reach was the staple of the series. It was the best. I had the best times with it. I feel like it was one of the best Halo games I've ever played, and I still play that Halo Reach to this day. There's still, you know, online scene for it, and there very well should be, because it's way better than Halo 5 and Halo freaking 4.
I actually have my girlfriend's 360 back here. I need to get a power supply and a controller for it. I might be looking into playing some older Halos on it.
Get on it. Let's play some Halo Reach, because I love that game.
Maybe that's something we can do.
10 out of 10, baby. 10 out of 10. Anyways, all right. So let's start kind of wrapping this up here. I just had one little funny topic that I wanted to talk about as a YouTuber. So I thought I would bring this up for both of us. Do you watch your own YouTube videos, like, after you upload them? Do you secretly watch your own YouTube videos? You're just like definitely analyzing them, like, I looked really dumb in that moment, or hey, I like that. I like this scene. I look cool. Like,
I watch my videos at least a couple of times, especially when I put hours and hours into videos. It's like, I want to see this final product. I really want to see what I did with it and how I improved from my last one. And I really just want to enjoy all the time that I put into this, because, you know, you do spend a lot of time on these videos.
For real, yeah. Just something personal I thought I would ask as a YouTuber. I do watch my own videos just as a review for me to go back, you know, because after you let something sit for a while, you know, your ideas will change, your perception of that video will change. You know, you might make a video, go back a couple weeks later, view that video and be like, that fade was way too short. I want that fade to be longer. You know, I don't like the text I used. Could have animated that. You know, this part is really stupid to the video. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, there's times I'll just randomly go back to my old YouTube channels and just look at my older videos. And like when I was looking into the Nazi Zombies portable stuff, I was looking back on like the old maps I made and stuff. And it's really fun and nostalgic to see where you came from and where you're at now.
It really is. And just to be able to see that progression, I think, is really beneficial as a creator also. I still go back to Mexicougar and watch those videos. I still feel like they were good. Some of the ones I created back in the past, just like you probably, you know, like some of your old videos. There's
a lot of times I'll feel like really not confident about the videos I made. like back then, but now I kind of feel like I'm in a space where I have a good grasp on the types of videos I make and how good I am with the editing. I really like where I'm at now.
Dude, I
can really see that improvement.
You know how to edit, man. Like, I got to give you props as a YouTuber, because I feel like you are definitely undeserved as a YouTuber. I've seen so many YouTubers online, just like you probably have, and so many people just do not put effort into their videos, and it shows. And it always boggles my mind how these people get so many people watching their videos when they put no work. And people like you and people like me, we put in the extra effort into YouTube, and we never see really the results. I've seen some of the results, but you're still kind of struggling to really get that one video that just goes viral, or that video that snags with people, you know? I mean, I had that one video go viral. It was an incredible feeling, man. It was like, it's like, I want you to be able to experience that as a growing YouTuber. It'll change your life, dude.
The things that make it worth it to me are people like you that can really appreciate all the little details and all the work that I do put into it. And the thing I really admire about your videos is we don't need to make this sucking off thing.
Yeah.
like
I'm just come on. Under the table here. Come on.
The whole podcast. I really do. Like, I can really appreciate the format of your videos and the consistency throughout. That's something I don't have, and that's something I really strive to do. It seems like you're really good. You got a really good idea of, pushing videos out on a regular basis and knowing what you want to do, and that's something that I don't have, and I feel like that's a problem with my channel that I can improve on.
Well, guess what, dude? You probably also have a social life. I don't. I spend my life on YouTube. I live YouTube. I eat YouTube. I don't know, man. YouTube.
I work, I hang out with my girlfriend, and I chill on my computer. I can't say I'm always on YouTube, but like, a big problem with me is motivation. It's hard for me to sit down and really concentrate on what I want to do. Sometimes I'll sit down and be like, okay, let me try to make some music, and I'll kill some time messing around on FL Studio. And
nice.
I'll spend like an hour working on something, and I'll just decide to scrap it and won't be happy with it. And most recently, I've been trying to do some stuff with my videos, and I'm just not happy with it. I scrap it, and I sit here with nothing, and that's usually when I'll go days on end without uploading a video, just because I'm either not motivated, or I just can't think of something to put out. And that's something that seems like you're really good at, is knowing that next video that you're going to put out.
I think that you can appreciate it because you go through the same struggle that I go through as a creator. You know the struggle, I know the struggle, and we can both appreciate and respect the amount of editing and planning. Everybody's just like, oh, you're just posting a YouTube video, but do you realize that you have to shoot and think about this video and edit it, and think about how you're going to advertise it to people, and there's so much that goes into just a single video upload, but we do it so frequently that it just becomes clockwork in our heads, and we start to forget just how much work we're actually putting into these videos. But I think
you definitely feel them. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I definitely think you feel it the most when you're at that point where you really can't think of what to do, and you're like, wow, I did that last video so good, why can't I do that now? Yeah,
you set yourself a new bar, and it's hard to meet that. That's what happened with me in streaming, man. Like, I was doing streaming there for a bit, and we had some regular streams, and we had some really fun streams, and when we would have those really fun streams, they'd happen spontaneously. It would set the bar for what streams should be like, and it just got to a point where I'm like, I just don't feel like I can deliver that fun every stream, and it kind of made me not want to stream anymore.
I actually want to get into streaming, but I just have no idea how to do it.
Dude, you really should. And as a YouTuber, you should be streaming regularly. I should be streaming regularly. If YouTube goes down, dude, you want to build up your Twitch base, because look, you could go to Twitch. You could play both fields, and we really should be taking advantage of that, honestly. Big time, dude. I freaking look at all the fortune I've had through streaming. Somebody incredible showed up into my life and changed my life through me doing streaming. The community I have now is a foundation of streaming. It wasn't just YouTube alone. The core people in my community are the core people who come to those streams. It creates takes a blockade away from you and your audience, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely, because that gives you a lot of time to interact with them too, especially when it's live, and that's just something you can't really do in your videos.
Yeah, precisely. So I highly recommend you try that as a creator. You could have more success on Twitch streaming than you could have on YouTube, dude. Could blow your career up. Like, you never know. You've got the personality for it, dude. You're good at Call of Duty. You're good at gaming. Like, you could make it happen, dude. What was I just gonna say? What I recommend for you as a YouTuber. And if you get into those little ruts where you can't think about what you want to make next, what I recommend to you is that you create a series, an actual series, not just like, random video upload with talking about something. Make a series and you will feel committed to it, and you will always have ideas. Create like a top 10 or top 5, or, it could be anything. Just, if you create something and you brand it, not just like top 5 videos of this or that, like create your own T series or whatever.
I don't know if you noticed, I started
just like we started this podcast. I mean, this is motivation, right?
Yeah. I did a little bit of this thing where I'm kind of trying to do like content teardown.
I love that.
Just like criticize people. And I've wanted to start kind of like a T-tip series where I do like editing tutorials, stuff like that. I feel like that would be really easy to push out on a regular basis.
Yeah, there you go.
If I could think of how to actually do that. So that's a good start, maybe.
Spider outside of your web, dude. Start reaching out. See where you will find strength.
Actually,
Call of Duty, it only got you so far, dude. Mm-hmm. I mean,
I've actually been writing video ideas down on a little notepad.
Hell yeah. There we go. Steal them all. Screenshot that. No, dude. I think if you had just a series and you just always knew how to make that and edit that series, and all you need to do is just look up information on the internet for said series, or just something, dude. Like, we're doing this podcast now. This is a series. I feel like this is easy for us now that we've established a foundation for it for us to return and continue this series.
Hopefully.
And hopefully the series will give us segments that we could post to your channel, my channel, whatever, of stuff that we're talking about. What if we're talking about some juicy Call of Duty stuff going on, or some freaking new Counter-Strike update or something like that, and you're like, you want to take that segment and, post it so your audience gets that information directly.
I think the beautiful thing about it is, since we're both, we have different channels, but we both just play games. We both have the same interests. We both have the same, goals as far as edit, as far as it goes, as far as YouTube and games and all that. We can meet this middle ground and discuss things regardless of the actual topic or the content.
You guys, this isn't a PC versus Nintendo. This is gaming harmony right here. This is gamers being able to come together, people with similar interests being able to come together and just be able to discuss the whole platform of gaming. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be a battle. It doesn't have to be Xbox versus PS4 or anything like that. Because really, I love gaming. You love gaming. It doesn't. It's harmony, you guys.
And if you see my content, you'll definitely realize that, because we are like totally different people.
Well, man, I've been wanting to collab with you, man, for a while. I think this is a perfect little series to baby step onto, and it gives us a lot of room just to be able to wiggle. You know what I mean? To fail, to learn, to see what our audience wants, dude. That's the biggest thing, is trying to figure out what your audience wants. I didn't know my audience wanted 3DS stuff. I didn't know what my audience wanted forever. Like, it's about finding out what the audience likes that you like to make. You like to make Call of Duty, but the Call of Duty audience is dying. So what else is something that you can move over to? Counter-Strike? Is there a Counter-Strike audience? Well, who knows? I mean, there's a 3DS scene for me. That
to a certain degree, you got to keep yourself happy too. You
got to keep yourself happy. Make what you want to make. Never forget that. I think that's the biggest thing. It's YouTube. You know what I mean? It's not corporate tube like people think it should be. Making money and stuff.
Like Nintendo thinks it should be.
Nintendo thinks it's the corporate tube, but not us. We know it's YouTube. It's crazy to see where YouTube's came, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. I think we're gonna pretty much conclude this Pixel Tea podcast. That was delicious, man.
I think it's cool.
Don't anybody take that wrong. I was talking about our Pixel Tea. I mean, we just had that joke like 5 or 10 minutes ago, so I don't know if that's still fresh in people's minds. Okay.
This is even went on. I haven't even
keep up with the time. Couple hours, man.
Really?
Yeah, we went on for almost 2 hours, our podcast. So I mean, it's all going up.
If you like to listen to people talk, then, you know, this might be an interesting thing for you. And this is our first podcast. I think that's really great too, because it's something we've always wanted to do. I've wanted to do podcasts for a long time. And even though we make totally different content, it was good for us just to sit down and be able to, hey, we're going to do a podcast. Fuck it.
Yep. Do you have SoundCloud, right?
Oh, I have a SoundCloud, but I haven't updated it in the longest. SoundCloud.com/drowningnt if you want to listen to my old little beats and stuff I messed around with. Maybe I'll be updating that when I can get into music again, but we'll see.
We'll have to see. I was going to say, if you had your SoundCloud, we could just post the podcast on your SoundCloud and post the video on my YouTube channel.
I think we can make a SoundCloud for the podcast, maybe.
I think that's a good idea. You should start on that, man, and you could maintain it or something. And I'll do the videos, and I'll send you over the sound or the you know, the audio track. Shouldn't be too big if I can, you know, it's just the audio. Maybe
I would say if you edit the video, you just cut the audio off of that, and there you go.
Oh wait, you could just download the audio after I upload the video, and then there we go. Simple, easy. And I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna edit the video, and for everything that we talk about, I'm gonna put like a little overlay. It's gonna take some work because it's so hella long.
You've probably seen it by now. If you've gotten to this point, I don't know why you would want to listen to it this long, but hey, if you made it, that's crazy.
Some people might just put this in the background. That would be cool if they did, you know. We'll just have to see where this goes.
You must be like a real TCPixel fan if you listen to it this far.
Hey,
that's crazy.
I just want to say, if Manito has listened to it this far, and please don't tell me you skipped to the end, Manito, because I think you might do that. Manito,
I think he follows me. I think that guy follows me.
Dude, Manito is the shit. I love that guy. He's always liking my tweets and stuff, and he's just been an awesome Bit Crew member. So shout out to Manito. He is one of the coolest. Who's your biggest fan on YouTube? Not your biggest fan, but your biggest, you know what I mean? Like your biggest follower, whatever you want to call it. Your biggest friend, your biggest fan.
Like mine?
Yeah, like yours. No, I was actually talking to your curtains behind you. Yeah, thank you very much. No,
man, nobody cares about them.
You're just all petting them. Shh, shush. Don't say another word.
I had this one.
Curtains have seen some shit.
I would hate to like single out a person because I don't want to make any of the other people that follow me feel bad. But I made a video on this guy a while back, as he goes by Tech, and he actually like changed his avatar to me, and he made like a video dedicated to me.
Nice.
Like, he would retweet like everything I would do over Twitter. He'd like all my videos. He's a hardcore fan of me for the longest and supported me for the longest, and he's a great guy. Thumbs up for that guy. Like you already, man. You're already the shit. Yeah, if somehow you got in here, shout out to Tech. Yeah, shout out to you, man. I hope are you gonna make an announcement on your channel? Are you gonna say tell everybody what's up about this podcast? Oh, definitely. They're gonna find out about it. And if you're coming from Tevin's channel, you can check me out if you're interested. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw a plug here. Go for it, buddy. My Twitter is @veryleafy. Yeah, that's not a Leafy reference. It's a T reference. A lot of people don't get that. Hey, I'll take it either way. YouTube.com/veryleafy. You can also probably find me in the description of this. I'm sure he's going to put it down there unless he does want to. Let's keep me low key, even though I've been here the entire podcast. Yeah, who's this T guy again? No, freaking, you're definitely. This is both of our projects, so you'll definitely, as much as I can get you, because people do need to go check out your channel. If they're liking this podcast, most definitely they'll go check it out. And I'm sure we're going to work out a SoundCloud for this. So if we have that in the description, if you want to listen while you're in a car or at work or whatever, just be sure to check that out too. Be sure to, we'll put that in the description as well. This has been fun. Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm probably going to listen to this because I listen to podcasts at work. I'm probably going to listen over this at work, to be honest. For just sure. To hear myself on a podcast. Just a little self-appreciation. We got to test drive this. I mean, don't we? I got to bump this in my car, see how the audio sounds, how dumb I sound. No, I'm just kidding. Freaking, I'm pretty used to being on camera, and you probably are too. You're going to listen to it, you're like, wow, I sound so good in this. It sounds so professional. I'm like, shit, man, that mic sounded beautiful. Oh, yeah. But I'm thinking we're probably not going to have episodes that are this freaking long in the future. We'll probably limit it, our talk to about an hour. We'll get better about it. This is our first episode. Just kind of screwing around. We kind of had a lot to talk about that was just kind of all over the place. We kind of had a good guide, but this is our trial run. Boring you if you made it this far. But if somebody is listening,
They're probably passed out on their bed. They fell asleep 25 minutes ago. It's still just playing their phone. They're gonna wake up, their phone's gonna be dead. It's probably gonna play some other people's YouTube videos. So
if you made it this long, comment I'm not passed out.
Yeah, comment I'm not passed out. There we go. We got 2 things going. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for checking out the Pixel Tea podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had a good sip. We're going with that catchphrase for now. Sure. And you guys totally love it, and I know it.
We'll work out the kinks.
We're gonna work out the kinks. You guys can tell us what you didn't and did like, because I know that you guys are gonna love it. So we'll wait for that feedback.
I had a great time.
I had a great time with you too, man. This is great. I can't wait. Oh, by the way, we're gonna try to keep this as a weekly episode, at least weekly. I mean, if we're feeling like we want to do another episode, freaking hell, who's stopping us? But we're gonna just try to keep it weekly, just keep it basic, because we both still run our channels and everything like that, and go to work and freaking live life and have girlfriends and stuff. So yeah, we just got time occasionally for a couple hour discussion.
Occasionally, or a lot of the time, we're just sitting in front of the computer, but
precisely playing Battlefield or Counter-Strike. But you guys don't need to know that. We're working hard.
Yeah, just consider any time that we say that we're on the computer, we're working on videos and shit 24/7.
Yep, and just know that when we say that we're done, we're not actually done. Give it a few more minutes. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. This has been TCPixel.
T.
Yep, there we go. See, we're communicating telepathically for a moment, but all right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like it up, subscribe it up, and I'll catch all of you guys future videos and live streams. Peace out, dudes.
All right.
You gonna peace them out or what, dude?
Yeah.
You already, yeah. Vape dish! All right, good night, guys. That was great.